So many of you are wondering if Pokemon Piccopia is worth over $600, and when I say that, I'm specifically talking to the cozy gamers who don't have a Switch 2 yet and feeling the intense FOMO from everyone talking about Piccopia, plus the actual game that costs $70 or $80 on Amazon. But I get it, I understand what you're feeling because I caved and bought the Switch 2 after doing research about the game. I got it, and so I'm here to tell you what I think. Some of you have a Switch 2 and you're just wondering if it's even worth $70. This video is for you as well. Now, of course, some of this is my opinion of the game. We all play different things and like different gaming styles, and so I highly encourage you to seek out multiple sources to get a full scope of this game so you can make a good decision for you. Hopefully this video will help you feel more informed. So first, a quick overview of what Pokemon Piccopia is if you didn't already know. You start the game as a Ditto that morphs into your playable character, then you set off on an exploration adventure in a dry and deserted environment where you meet other Pokemon and restore the place to what it once was. This is a cozy version of a Pokemon game where it's all about community, exploration, and creativity instead of battles. The game is roughly 20 to 40 hours to complete, but you will more than likely get way more hours of gameplay out of this game. It's only available on the Switch 2, of course, and costs $70 US. Okay, so let's get into some key points about the game after playing it for around 30 hours. So let's start with character customization, since that's the first thing you're going to do when you start the game. There are a handful of choices for the color of your skin, but I think it's a good range, especially if there are no color wheels, and this is of course a Ditto. I didn't have an issue picking the color I think matched best, but looking at the screen, see if you can easily point out which color matches you the best. Then we move on to hair, and there aren't many choices here, 7 of them very simple. I know some people will stay on character customization for a long time, but this is definitely not that type of game. The choices are slim, which causes you to pick quickly. Not entirely mad about that. I will say though that you will get additional hairstyles later in the game, and you will be able to change it up as you play. Then we move on to clothes, and the choices here are pretty simple, a few main styles and a range of colors in those styles, and that goes for backpacks, pants, hat, and shoes as well. You will get additional outfits as you play the game also. For this type of game, like I said, the character customization is really simple. I think it fits and works as opposed to a game where the characters look more realistic and represent you more. So as far as the introduction, a big thing in games, especially cozy games, is how long does it take for the tutorial to reach completion and how the tutorial actually works. Oftentimes games will have tutorials that drag on, and you're just sitting there reading hours of text doing absolutely nothing. The good news with Piccopia is that I feel like there's a good balance. There are definitely moments where you're reading text for a while, but it makes sense and it's actually entertaining. The tutorial is roughly around 30 minutes to an hour to complete before you enter the actual game, where the time of day will sync with your clock. But if you're big into early exploration, it could take up to 2 hours to complete the tutorial. In the beginning, you meet Professor Tangrowth, and he pretty much lets you know what's going on in the environment and will be your go-to NPC throughout this game. After a bit, you will be introduced to a Squirtle, and this is the first instance where you will learn different skills from the Pokemon. I think this is a very clever way to gain skills, and it's actually really adorable imitating Squirtle to learn the water gun. Learning water gun will allow you to revive dry areas, grass, and plants. Now, I will say this, you might end up wanting to water every single dry patch you see immediately because it's just something so satisfying about seeing the bright colors come back. And so a lot of your time might just end up with you watering everything. I get it, you're not alone. I did it too, y'all. I did it too. Unfortunately though, when you highlight an area, it's this cross shape, which is so unfitting. It honestly doesn't make sense to me. Maybe it will to you, but I don't understand why it's this shape instead instead of a square or something, but I digress. You will then learn about habitats, which is a very key point of this game, and you'll end up finding the other two of the original 3 Pokemon, Charmander and Bulbasaur. Y'all, my heart was just so happy seeing that we're starting with the original 3. I love it. You will learn some basic game mechanics, and then the tutorial will end and the time will sync up. So if you're playing in the morning, it will be bright, and if you're playing at night, it will be dark. Makes sense? Now, if you're not a fan of time sync, then that is something to consider because, like I said in a previous video, some of us work or have class every day and get off at the same time or have other daily responsibilities, which means your Pokopia environment might always be dark or always bright. I don't think it's too big of a deal and you will still enjoy the gameplay, but some Pokemon only appear at certain times of the day, and so it's just something to take note of. So pretty much after the tutorial, your main quest is to restore the environment, create habitat so that more Pokemon will appear, and figure out what has happened. This game does a really great job of leading you from one quest to the next with little confusion. Sometimes you might still end up a little confused, but honestly, just talk to the Pokemon with the yellow text bubble and they'll lead you. As you complete quests, the game will seamlessly lead you to new skills and things that you will need in order to have a flowing town and environment. So, question for you, what type of player are you? Are you the type to speed run through quests to get to the end? Or are you the type to do a lot of exploring? Or are you the type that likes to decorate and make a space aesthetically pleasing before moving on to the next? If you're the latter two, I think this game is right up your alley because the game rewards exploration. And if you're the type that likes to decorate a space before moving on to the next, this game will fulfill that creativity within you. There's a lot of customization when it comes to creating buildings and spaces. I've seen a lot of beautiful builds, and the world is actually very, very large, and so you will have a lot to work with. The downside though is that some players have stated that they feel completely overwhelmed with how large this game is, especially if you like to decorate. And I completely get that because at one point I was like, whew, this is a lot. But you just have to keep in mind that you have to go at your own pace and go one space at a time. Hopefully this game will be enjoyed for years, and so if you consider that, it makes sense to why there's a lot. Players who love to explore as well will feel fulfilled because there's so much to discover, which will in turn help with building customizations and things like that. Now, if you're the type that will speed run through a game and you don't like decorating spaces, creating structures, or exploring, then this game will not be for you. I think you have to have some level of wanting to create and explore for this game to be enjoyable. I would say if the idea of building structures in Minecraft turns you off, I don't think you would enjoy this game fully. Now, can you play it without doing all of that? Of course, but I think that is where the hours and hours will come from, the decorating and the designing. Most of your early time in the game will probably be spent creating habitats, fulfilling quests, and exploring. Some people begin decorating and designing early though, so. Okay, does it get repetitive? Actually, no, at least not at the moment. I have about 30 hours in so far, and I actually feel like I'm doing something new every moment. There's also a lot of quests to do, daily challenges, and Pokemon to find by creating their habitat. So if you're tired of doing one thing, it's really easy to switch to something else. If you're in the middle of a quest and would rather explore, go for it. The quest will still be there when you're ready to continue. This game is very relaxed and stress-free, which is why I think so many people are enjoying it. Even though it's time synced, you're not stuck doing nothing after a while. It's literally always something to do or something to discover. Again, this is 30 hours into the game, and so I'm not sure how the end game looks, but I do know I barely scratched the surface with my game hours. Now let's talk about the atmosphere and the music. Like I said, the game is very peaceful and stress-free. You can do things entirely at your own pace. Of course, when you begin the game, the color is very faded due to the environment being very dry, but as you water everything, the color palette becomes very bright and beautiful. It's honestly so satisfying. The Pokemon carry on about their day and do their own thing, will even get their own fruit, and so you're free to do as you please. However, the Pokemon will want their homes decorated or will want toys to play with, and so keep that in mind. The music is very subtle but relaxing as well. It doesn't overpower the game, but enhances your gameplay. You'll definitely feel a sense of comfort as you play. The soundtrack actually uses remixes of classic Pokemon themes, and so you'll find familiarity with it. Some have noticed that the soundtrack changes as your island improves, and so that's really cool as well. Like I said, the music is very subtle, and so I don't think it will be too memorable. Not like when you hear Animal Crossing music or Stardew Valley music. With those, it's like instantly recognizable, but with Pokopia, it's gentle and it blends in. Now with game progression. Like I said, Professor Tangrowth is your go-to NPC for quests, but many of the Pokemon have quests for you to do as well that will progress the story. Always chat with your Pokemon who have text bubbles to see what's next. As you progress through the game, you will unlock new skills that will help you with the story, as well as customizing the towns. It all flows very seamlessly, and the game does a really great job of introducing you to the next new thing. If you're ever confused, go to the pause menu and quest, and you will be able to see who you need to talk to in order to progress the story. Focus on like who to talk to. Okay, does this game have any bugs? During my gameplay, I haven't experienced any bugs or glitches. In fact, the controls feel very fluid and everything just makes sense. I do highly recommend going to settings and changing a few things like I have on the screen right here, because when I first started, I felt like the controls were a little weird, and once I changed them, it feels so much better. And so don't forget, that's an option. You can map the buttons to whatever works best for you. Overall, I haven't experienced anything strange. It has been a pretty great gaming experience as far as performance. Now, battery. I usually get around 3 hours off the charger, and I like to play this game handheld. It's just a better experience in my opinion. And so yeah, 3 hours more or less. Now here's the thing. I don't expect handheld systems to last hours and hours and hours, especially if it's a very demanding game. Like, I love my Steam Deck and all, but I know that if I play a powerful game, it's not going to last all day. I see a lot of complaints about handhelds in general just not lasting very long, but I think it makes sense. I'm not sure if they're comparing these new systems to like the Game Boy or something that lasted 30 hours. Absolutely not. So I think the hours off the charger makes sense considering, but I know they just want it to last all day because they're having so much fun. I get it. Now, is it worth it? I think for the amount of content you get within this game, it's definitely worth it. It will for sure surpass 40 hours of gameplay if you enjoy decorating and designing. If you don't enjoy decorating, you can still enjoy it. And I don't mean decorating in the sense of like having all of these incredible builds, but more so just the act of decorating and creating structures and making houses for the Pokemon. If you take your time with this game, you will definitely enjoy it for months and months and years. I don't think it will have the same replayability as like Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing. I think this one is one that you could easily just stick with once because the game is incredibly large, and so you're able to kind of decorate spaces differently. Of course, some people will restart, of course, but I honestly think with this game, it's very easy to switch things around with demolition and moving plots costing so little. Now, is it worth getting a whole console for a whole Nintendo Switch 2? I did, and I have no regrets whatsoever. The amount of joy this game alone has brought me can't be matched. Now, I also consider the fact that I can still play all of my Switch 1 games on it, and you can upgrade the quality as well. Like, I immediately played Tears of the Kingdom and Splatoon 3. Y'all, those are my games. So yeah, especially if you like Splatoon 3, let me know. And I went ahead and got it so that I could have it for when new games come. I pretty much needed a good reason to buy the Switch 2, and this was it. I went ahead and pre-ordered the game and picked up the Switch 2, and when I picked up Piccopia on release day, the guy at the counter said that it had pretty much sold out and that I was lucky to have gotten it. That is saying something. This game has definitely made a mark. Now, I was waiting to buy the Switch 2 for a special edition model, but I figured I would just throw a skin on it, and that's just what I did. So that's just my take, but you have to decide for yourself based on everything you've seen and all the information that you've gathered. If you're still undecided, that's totally okay. This game is not going anywhere, I promise you. And if you ever decide to play it, you will be completely consumed with your own game and your own gameplay. And you won't be so worried about how far everyone else is. Just make it your own personal game that is just for you. This game does a really great job of having you only focus on your own gameplay, and so if you ever decide to get it, no worries, it's there, it's waiting for you. If you can't afford a Switch 2 right now, I get it, especially coming from the Switch 1 that was $300 and the Lite that was $200. This is definitely a jump at the price now being $450 to $500. Get the game when you are able to, and like I said just a minute ago, the game isn't going anywhere. If you know someone who does have this game, they're able to game share with you and you can play it with them so you can get kind of a feel for it. I know it's not the best solution as the quality will drop and you're limited in what you can do, but it's something. Overall, I really enjoy Pokemon Piccopia. A game hasn't gotten me this consumed in a long time. And I'm not even a huge Pokemon player. I dropped off after the originals, but I still find that this game is super enjoyable. Like I said, if you're a creative and you enjoy peaceful building, then this game will be like gold to you. It can be a bit overwhelming, but it will level out and you'll feel at peace as you play. I hope this video helped in some way or you related to any of it, and if you did or it helps, please give this video a thumbs up. I post weekly gaming news and cozy gaming content, and so if that's your thing, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. Let me know where you are with Pokemon Piccopia. Are you playing it now or are you considering it? Let me know. I hope you have a wonderful week and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.